Alright guys, in this video we're talking more about the PlayStation 5, but we're going to be having a different conversation in this video. This isn't a news video, this is more of an opinion video, and I'm talking about this notion that has popped up that the PS5 is kind of a half-baked console. More specifically, the PlayStation 5 is a half-baked mess. Now, I'm talking about a video that I recently came across because many of you have recommended it to me, saying I should check it out and give my response to it or give my thoughts on it. And this was a video that was done by Review Tech USA, and I like some of his content. I don't follow him too closely, but I'm very familiar with him. And I want to make it clear that I'm not trying to start beef with anybody. We're just talking about consoles here. I'm just looking to kind of give the other side here, like give a different take. And before anybody jumps to conclusions with this video, no, I'm not here to defend the PS5's honor and tell you why it's a perfect console that doesn't deserve any criticism and why every single human being on the planet absolutely needs one or they're not living. That is absolutely not what this video is. What this video is to just let you know that I do not agree with what's being said here. I certainly don't agree with the title that the PlayStation 5 is a half-baked mess. I understand that it's just his opinion, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I have no problem with that. But again, I just want to tell you why, as a PlayStation 5 owner who has put literally hundreds of hours, easily over 500 hours, probably closer to 1,000 hours, maybe even more than that, into the PS5 since launch, why this console is not perfect, but it is absolutely nowhere close to being a half-baked mess. Now, if you go watch this video, which I'll have it linked down below, so you can go check it out for yourself, if you're interested, he basically is talking about these problems. Now, when I clicked on this video, I thought to myself, this is one of two things. This is either like a really upset individual who has been very unfortunate and very unlucky and got a PlayStation 5 that just isn't working right. Because that's something that happens. That's something that happens with every console launch and every console generation, and they're just very frustrated and they're venting it. I thought it was either that or it was serious clickbait. Because let's be honest, I think after how long these consoles have been out and after everything we've heard about these consoles, I don't think anybody would agree with the notion that the PS5 is half-baked. Now, if you want to complain about the storage size, if you want to complain about maybe the UI and it's just not as intuitive for you, it's not as good as the PS5's UI, it's not as convenient, these are all extremely valid criticisms that frankly I can agree with, because my biggest issues with the PS5 right now, and I want to start by talking about my issues with the PS5 to make it clear that I'm not just trying to be the PlayStation fanboy that's defending Sony's honor here. No, it's not what I'm doing. I've had some of the same issues. My biggest issue with the PS5 right now is probably, it's a tie between the storage and the UI. The storage is not that big of a deal for me because I already knew when going into it that it was going to have not an ideal amount of storage. And I have already run into some occasions where I've had to go into my settings and manually delete some games to make room for others. However, I am the type of person where I've never had a problem doing this. I've never felt the need to upgrade my storage because I don't really play that many games at one time. There's usually more than enough room for me to have the games installed that I'm currently playing. And when I'm done with a game, I have absolutely no problem deleting that game. Now, does that mean that Sony shouldn't offer a more convenient solution for those who do care? No, of course they need to offer this, and I want Sony to get a move on with announcing, these new hard drives that people can go out there and buy to upgrade their storage and expand it if that's what they want. So yes, that is a valid criticism. Does that mean the console's half-baked? No. If you have a problem with the UI, right, and it's just not doing what you want it to do, or it's just not as, again, intuitive as you want it to be, I think that's a valid criticism. This is an area where I think it's more subjective than objective. Now, one of my biggest problems with the UI is with the trophies. Sony basically buried the trophy list. You have to click, I don't know how many different prompts to get into the actual trophy list, but it's ridiculous compared to how simple it was with the PS4. These are areas where there does need to be improvement. There does need to be further refinement. Okay, but to call a console half-baked, you are basically implying that it's like a half-finished console, and I don't think that that's what the PS5 is at all. The PS5 offers a lot. It offers a lot of really great things that I think most gamers who are interested in upgrading to a next-gen console, whether that be upgrading today, upgrading tomorrow, or upgrading 6 months from now or a year from now, I think these are things that you're going to appreciate, right? And that's one of my biggest issues with this video, is it makes such a bold, definitive statement, calling the console a half-baked mess, claiming that this needs to be said, even though I'm pretty sure that a lot of the things he's bringing up have already been said multiple times, and we are all well aware of it. Even people who are not PS5 owners are well aware of it. He failed to talk about any of the reasons why you might not want to see this console as a half-baked mess. Why, if you are somebody who was excited to get a PS5 and you click this video and suddenly you're feeling extremely deflated, like it's not worth it at all, that's my problem here. It's not because I'm trying to sell you on the PS5. No, it's because I'm somebody who has been using it, and I've been using it for a long time. And I am here to tell you that if you watch this video and suddenly you're like, you know what, maybe I'm gonna hold off on trying to get a PS5, or maybe you were somebody who was looking forward to getting it for your birthday, maybe Christmas this year, an event happening sometime this year, whatever, you know, you're looking forward to it. Now maybe you're like, you know what, maybe I'll wait. There's nothing wrong with waiting, okay? Like, I want that to be made clear. It's perfectly valid and fine to wait. In fact, you could argue there are some really huge benefits to reap by waiting. However, if you are excited, and if you were excited, and you hear somebody basically tell you like, oh, it's a half-baked mess, you know, there's this problem, there's that problem. I'm gonna tell you right now, I have had very, very minimal problems. And one of the things he mentions in this video is that he has 2 PS5s, and he uses that as a way to kind of make it sound like, look, it's not just me with my single PS5. You know, I've been having these issues with both of my PS5s. Now, I have one PS5, but I also have a good friend who also owns a PS5, okay? And we have both put a lot of time into these consoles. And we both have agreed that, you know, the UI definitely needs some work, and we would like to eventually expand our storage, you know, and that would be nice to have that option. And there are definitely some things that need improvements, but in general, our problems have been very limited. The only real problem I ever had with this console was when I was playing a game and it would hard crash my console. Now, I know that sounds really bad. It was bad, but it wasn't the console's fault. It was Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War when it first launched, and it turned out the game needed to be patched. It was the game's fault. It wasn't the hardware, it was the game. And that was the only serious issue I ran into, and it was fixed promptly. Anything other than that, it's mainly like little stuff, man, you know? It's little stuff, like it's just things that ultimately, does it really get in the way of me enjoying my console gaming experience on the PS5? I mean, the act of playing video games, does it get in the way of it? No, it really doesn't, or very minimally does it get in the way of it. Again, my biggest issue is with the trophies. That's an area that I need to see fixed. And also, when I first got it, trying to, you know, get used to how to turn off the console, again, there are just some things you have to unlearn that does make it seem like, okay, maybe Sony, they could have done a little bit of a better job with the UI, but ultimately, it's just little things like that, right? It's not anywhere near the level of this console's half-baked. A half-baked console, in my opinion, is a console that fails to do what it said it was going to do. Now, if we go back to what Sony said the PS5 was going to do, it's completely living up to it. Not only is it giving you better visuals with ray tracing, but it's living up to the promise of the innovation they offered with the DualSense. And it's, again, this is all subjective, but let's be honest here. Speaking objectively, we have to go over the things Sony promised. They promised a new UI. We got it. May not be the UI that everybody wanted, but we got it, right? And it works pretty smoothly. Like, I haven't ran into any issues where it's like slow or stuttery. The console's quiet and cool. Haven't had any issues with that. The console is offering games that you can only get on the PS5. Now, if you want to use the argument, well, there's not enough games here, then that's, again, that's subjective to you. That's not a reason to call the console half-baked. If you're having trouble finding something to play on your console, that's not because the console's half-baked. You see what I mean? Like, we've gotten a launch lineup. We've gotten exclusive games. We're getting more exclusive games. We got Demon Souls. We have Destruction All-Stars now. I know that one probably isn't even worth mentioning, but it is worth mentioning. It's a PS5 only title. We're getting Returnal in April, PS5 only. We're getting Ratchet and Clank in June, PS5 only. Okay, on top of that, we're getting solid third-party support. We're seeing third-party take advantage of the innovations such as the DualSense features and 3D audio. Okay, these are all things that, for me, make me come to the conclusion that this console is far from being half-baked. It's not perfect. It has its issues, sure, and we can pick them out, right? And you're going to run into them occasionally, but it's absolutely nowhere close to being considered half-baked. Now, I'm saying that definitively, but I don't want to speak for every PS5 owner. However, I am fairly confident in saying that if you were to ask every PS5 owner, okay, everyone who has bought a PS5 and has been playing it, not scalpers, people who've been using it, okay, the way it was intended to be used. And if I were to ask them, you know, would you call or consider the PS5 half-baked, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the overwhelming majority of them will say absolutely not. They'll say it's not perfect. They'll point out some of the issues that they have with it, or maybe some of the issues they've been running into, but I highly doubt anybody's going to call it half-baked. This is where I just feel like it's a little bit unfair, you know? I'm sure that the reason why this video has gained so much traction, but more importantly, has garnered so much support, I think it's simple. I think that there's a lot of people right now, way more people that don't have PS5s than do. This is obvious. We all know this. And I think that when they see a video like this, it makes them feel kind of good, right? Because it's like, well, it turns out I'm not missing out on anything. Nobody likes that feeling of, you know, the fear of missing out, right? And I'm not here to tell you that you should have fear of missing out, that you are missing out big time. No, I'm not trying to do that either. But you do need to know that there are things here that are pretty great, that if you aren't a PS5 owner right now, I think you'll be okay living without it, right? I think you would appreciate it if you did have it, if you are somebody who wants a next-gen console. But we cannot make it sound like there's absolutely nothing being missed out on right now. There definitely is some things. There are some things that you're missing out on. And that list is going to continue to grow month over month, okay? But if you were to ask me, MBG, do I need a next-gen console? Obviously, the answer to that is no. You don't need a next-gen console, right? But if you say, well, I'm excited for Ratchet and Clank, do I need a PS5? In that case, yes, you literally need a PS5 to play that game. But if let's just say you don't care about any of the exclusive games, you just want to know about like just the general idea of a next-gen upgrade. Is the PS5 a next-gen upgrade, or is it just a half-baked mess? I'm going to tell you right now, it is a next-gen upgrade. You will find some flaws. Not everything is going to be perfect. Nothing ever is perfect, and it will take some years of refinement to get closer to that idea of perfection. But believe me when I tell you, this is a console that is worth your money if you're looking to invest into a next-gen upgrade. I promise you that, okay? If you feel like there isn't enough to play right now, then that's a fair criticism. Then I would say just wait a little bit longer. If you are waiting for the big, massive games to drop like the next God of War or Horizon, then you're probably going to want to wait. But if you think Demon Souls looks fun, if you think that upcoming games like Returnal and Ratchet and Clank look good, and you want that visual upgrade, you want that, you know, enhancement with the DualSense controller and feeling those haptics and the triggers, you want the 3D audio, you know, you want a quiet console because you're currently playing on the PS4 Pro and you can't stand that it still sounds like a jet plane taking off, then yes, these are all things that you will appreciate with this console. Believe me when I tell you, okay? So again, just to kind of recap here, I'm not trying to tell you the PS5 is perfect. It's not perfect. It still has some flaws, and there are things that Sony needs to kind of work on and get everything ironed out, but it is absolutely nowhere near being considered, in my opinion, a half-baked mess. And I would be hard-pressed to believe that really any PS5 owner, unless you're one of the few unlucky ones where you just got a bad console and it's just bad hardware and there's just something really wrong with it and you have to send it into Sony and get another one. I feel for those people. I understand why, if that were to happen to you, you would just have a bad taste in your mouth and you would be angry at the PlayStation 5. I understand why, if you've been trying to get a PS5 and it's been impossible for you and your only means to do so is through a scalper. I understand why you would want to take out your frustration by believing somebody telling you, oh, it's a half-baked mess, you're not missing out on anything. But look, if you are somebody who is interested in the next gen consoles and you're kind of on the fence and you're like, I feel like the PS5 could be a good console, but I'm also hearing people like this tell me it's a half-baked mess. Take it from me, as somebody who's put literally hundreds and hundreds of hours into this console playing games. It is a worthwhile upgrade. And if you're excited to get the PS5 and you want one, don't expect perfection. Okay, that's all I'm trying to give you that disclaimer now. Do not expect absolute perfection, but I highly doubt you're going to end up feeling like this. I highly doubt you're not going to feel like it's a next-gen upgrade. I think you'll be impressed by the visuals, everything 60 FPS, there's ray tracing. You'll certainly be impressed, in my opinion, with the DualSense and just how that adds a whole new layer of immersion for most games. I think you'll be impressed with how silent the PS5 is. I think you'll be impressed with how fast it is, right? I'm not saying you're going to be impressed with every aspect of the UI. I'm not saying you won't run into any hiccups or any bugs or anything like that at all. But I just don't think you're going to end up feeling like it's a half-baked mess. That's the whole point of this video. So anyway, this video is turning out pretty long, so leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I will be interested to see what you have to say. Leave the video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.